Hello everyone, welcome back again. And today it's 8th of March, 12:45 a.m. right now. Today I'll continue my series of reading for 20 minutes daily to improve my speaking skills. I hope the audio and video is clear. If there is any problem, please comment down. I'll try to improve it next time. So, I was thinking a lot today. I was thinking that why am I even doing this? And the answer that I reached to was because I just want to share something. I want to talk, and this is the only place I feel like I've been heard or I can speak freely. And I wouldn't be able to do that if I don't speak clearly. So that's the first step towards that is speaking clearly. That's why I'm trying to read this book every day for 20 minutes in front of a camera, so that I get comfortable with it and my articulation gets better. So that's all. Let's start today's reading without any further delay. And also, if I want to continue this YouTube journey, I think I have to be articulate in the niche I want to be in my YouTube channel. I think I have to be a little articulate to speak better, and I want to convey stories. Not only stories, just I want to convey my opinion through my YouTube channel. So for that, I think articulation is very important, and reading this book every day will help me for that. Now let me set a timer for 20 minutes again. Okay, let's start. I was at page number 18 yesterday. Let's continue. That said, it doesn't matter how successful or unsuccessful you are right now. What matters is whether habits are putting you on a path towards success. You should be far more concerned with your current trajectory than your current results. If you are a millionaire but you spend more than you earn each month, then you are on a bad trajectory. If your spending habits don't change, it's not going to end well. Conversely, if you are broke but you save a little bit every month, then you are on a path towards financial freedom. Even if you are moving slower than you'd like, your outcomes are lagging measure. The outcomes are lagging measure of your habits. Okay, so your outcomes are lagging measure of your habits. Okay, your net worth is lagging measure of your financial habits. Your weight is lagging measure of your eating habits. Your knowledge is lagging measure of your learning habits. Your clutter is lagging measure of your cleaning habits. You get what you repeat. If you want to predict whether you'll, and I'm reading the same book, Atomic Habits, just so you know. Just so you know. If you want to predict where you will end up in your life, all you have to do is follow the curve of your tiny gains or tiny losses and see how your daily choices will compound 10 or 20 years down the line. Are you spending less than you earn each month? Are you making it into the gym every week? Are you reading books and learning something new each day? Tiny battles like these are the ones that will define your future self. Time magnifies the margin between success and failure. It will multiply whatever you feed it. Good habits make you an ally, make time your ally. Bad habits make time your enemy. Habits are double-edged sword. Bad habits can cut you down just as easily as good habits can build you up. Which is why understanding the details is crucial. You need to know how habits work and how to design them to your liking so you can avoid dangerous half of the blade. Your habits can compound for you or against you. Positive compounding. Productivity compounds. Accomplishing one extra task is a small feat or on on any given day, but it counts for a lot over an entire career. Accomplishing one extra task is a small feat on any given day, but it counts for a lot over an entire career. The effect of automatic and old tasks for mastering new skill can be even greater. The effect of automating an old task or mastering a new skill can be even greater. The more tasks you can handle without thinking, the more your brain is free to focus on other areas. Okay. Productivity compounds. Knowledge compounds. Learning one new idea won't make you a genius, but a commitment to lifelong learning can be transformative. Furthermore, each book you read not only teaches you something new, but also opens up different ways of thinking about old ideas. As Warren Buffett says, that's how knowledge works. It builds up like compound interest. Relationship compounds. People reflect your behavior back to you. The more you help others, the more others want to help you. Being a little bit nicer each interaction can result in a network of broad, strong connection over time. Negative compounding. Stress compounds. The frustration of traffic jam, the weight of parenting responsibilities, the worry of making ends meet, the strain of slightly high blood pressure. By themselves, these common issues of stress are manageable, but when they persist for years, little stress compound into serious health issues. Negative thoughts compound. The more you think yourself as worthless, stupid, or ugly, the more you condition yourself to interpret life that way. You get trapped in a thought loop. The same is true for how you think about Others. Once you fall into the habit of seeing people as angry, unjust, or selfish, you see those kind of people everywhere. Outrage compounds. Riots, protests, and mass movements are rarely the results of a single event. Instead, a long series of microaggression and daily aggravations slowly multiply until one event tips the scale and outrage spreads like wildfire. What progress is really like. Imagine that you have an ice cube sitting on a table in front of you. The room is cold and you can see your breath. It's currently 25 degrees. It's currently 25 degrees. Even so slowly, the room begins to heat up. Even ever so slowly, the room begins to heat up. 26 degrees, 27 degrees, 28. The ice cube is still on the table in front of you. 29 degrees, 30, 31. Still nothing has happened. 10. Then 32 degrees. The ice begins to melt. A 1 degree shift seemingly no different from the temperature increase before it. A 1 degree shift seemingly no different from the temperature increases before it has unlocked a huge change. Breakthrough moments are often the results of many previous actions which build up the potential required to unleash a major change. This pattern shows up everywhere. Cancer spread 80% of its life undetectable, then takes over the body in months. Bamboo can barely be seen for the first 5 years as it builds extensive root system underground before exploding 90 feet into the air within 6 feet. Similarly, habits often appear to make no difference until you cross a critical threshold and unlock a new level of performance. In the early and middle stages of any quest, there is often a deep valley of disappointment. You expect to make progress in linear fashion, and it's frustrating how ineffective changes can seem during the first days, weeks, and even months. It doesn't feel like you are going anywhere. It's a hallmark of any compounding process. The most powerful outcomes are delayed. This is the one core reason why it is hard to build habits that last. People make a few changes, fail to see a tangible result, and decide to stop. You think I've been running every day for a month, so why can't I see any change in my body? Once this kind of thinking takes over, it's easy to let good habits fall by the wayside. But in order to make a meaningful difference, habit needs to persist long enough to break through this plateau. What I call is the plateau of latent potential. Okay. There was a term in science also. This latent word. It was regarding latent melting point or something like that in chemistry in class 12th. Yeah, there was something like that. I call the plateau of latent potential. If you find yourself struggling to build a good habit or break a bad one, it's not because you have lost your ability to improve. It's often because you have not yet crossed the plateau of latent potential. Complaining about not achieving success despite working hard is like complaining about ice cube not melting when you are heating it from 25 to 31 degrees. Your work was not wasted, it was just being stored. All the action happens at 32 degrees. When you finally break through the plateau of latent potential, people will call it an overnight success. The outside world only sees the most dramatic event rather than all that preceded it. But you know that it's the work you did long ago when it seemed that you weren't making any progress that makes the jump today possible. It is the human equivalent of geological pressure. Two tectonic plates can grind against one another for millions of years. The tension slowly building all the while. Then one day they rub each other once again. In the same fashion they have been for ages. But this time the tension is too great. An earthquake erupts. Change can take years before it happens all at once. Mastery requires patience. The San Diego Spurs, the Antonio Spurs, the San Antonio Spurs, one of the most successful teams in NBA history, have a quote from social farmer Jacob Riis hanging in their locker room. When nothing seemed to help, I go and look at a stonecutter hammering away at his rock perhaps 100 times without as much as a crack showing in it. Yet, at the 101st blow, it will split into two. And I know it was not that last blow that did it, but all that had gone before. All big things come from small beginnings. The seed of every habit is a single tiny decision. But as that decision is repeated, a habit sprouts and grows stronger. Roots enrich themselves and branches grow. The task of breaking a bad habit is like uprooting a powerful oak within us. The task of building a good habit is like cultivating a delicate flower one day at a time. But what determines whether we stick with a long with a habit long enough to survive the plateau of latent potential and break through the other side? What is it? Hmm. But what determines whether we stick with a habit long enough to survive the plateau of latent potential and break through to the other side? To the other side. What is it? What is it that causes some people to slide into unwanted habits? What is it that causes some people to slide into unwanted habits and enable other to enjoy the compounding effects of good ones? Forget about goals, focus on system instead. Prevailing wisdom claims that the best way to achieve what we want in life, getting into better shape, building a successful business, relaxing more and worrying less, spending more time with friends and family, is to set specific actionable goals. For many years, this was how I approached my habits too. Each one was a goal to be reached. I set a goal for I set goal for the grades I want to get in school, for the weights I wanted to lift in the gym, for the profits I wanted to earn in business. I succeeded at a few, but I failed at a lot of them. Eventually I began to realize that my results had very little to do with the goals I set, and nearly everything to do with the system I followed. What's the difference between system and goals? It's a distinction I first learned from Scott Adams, the cartoonist behind the Dilbert comic. Goals are about the results you want to achieve. Systems are about the process that lead to those results. Okay. If you are a coach, your goal might be to win a championship. Your system is the way you recruit players, manage your assistant coaches, and conduct practice. If you are an entrepreneur, your goal might be to build $1 million business, but your system is how you test product ideas, hire employees, and run market campaigns. If you are a musician, your goal might be to play a new piece. Your system is how often you practice, how you break down and tackle different difficult measures, and how and your method for receiving feedback from your instructor. And your method for receiving feedback from your instructor. Tackle difficult measures and your method for receiving feedback from your instructor. Okay. Now for the interesting question. If you completely ignored your goals and focused only on your system, would you still succeed? For example, if you were a basketball coach and you ignored your goal to win a championship and focused only on what your team does at practice each day, would you still get results? I think you would. The goal in any sport the goal in any sport is to finish with the best score, but it would be ridiculous to spend the whole game staring at the scoreboard. The only way to actually win is to get better each day. In the words of three-time Super Bowl winner Bill Walsh, the score takes care of itself. The same is true for other areas in life. If you want better results, then forget about setting goals. Focus on your system instead. What I do mean by this, are, are goals completely useless? Of course not. Goals are not. Goals are good for setting a direction, but systems are best for making progress. A handful of problems arise when you spend too much time thinking about your goals and not enough time designing your system. Problem 1. Winners and losers have the same goal. Goal setting suffers Goal setting suffers from a serious case of bias. Serious case of survivorship bias. We concentrate on the people who end up winning and survivors, and they mistakenly assume end up winning the survivors. We concentrate on people who end up winning, the survivors, and, and mistakenly assume that ambitious goal led to their success, while overlooking all of the people who had the same objective but didn't succeed. Every Olympian wants to win a gold medal. Every candidate wants to get the job. And if successful and unsuccessful people share the same goal, then the goal cannot be what differentiates the winner from the losers. It wasn't the goal of winning. It wasn't the goal of winning Tour de France that propelled British cyclists to the top of the sport. Presumably, they had wanted to win the race every year before, just like every other professional team. The goal had always been there. I was the. It was the only. It was only when they implemented a system of continuous small improvements that they achieved a different outcome. Problem 2. Achieving a goal is only momentary change. What do you mean by this? Achieving a goal is only momentary change. Momentary change. Momentary change. Okay. Imagine you have a messy room and you set a goal to clean it. If you summon the energy to tidy up, then you'll have a clean room for now. But if you maintain the same sloppy pick rat habits that led to the messy room in the first place, soon you'll be looking at a new pile of clutter and hoping for another burst of motivation. You are left chasing the same outcome because you never changed the system behind it. You treated a symptom without addressing the cause. Achieving a goal only changes your life for the moment. Okay, that's the counterintuitive thing about improvement. We think we need to change our results, but the results are not the problem. What we really need to change is the system that caused those results. When you solve problem at the results level, you only solve them temporarily. In order to improve for good, you need to solve the problem at the system level. Fix the inputs and the output will fix themselves. Problem 3. Goals restrict your happiness. The implicit assumption behind any goal is this: once I reach my goal, I'll be happy. The problem with a goal first mentality is we're continuously we're continually putting happiness off until the next milestone. I slipped into this trap so many times. I've lost count. For years, happiness was something for my future self to enjoy. For years, happiness was something for my future self to enjoy. I promised myself that once I gained 20 pounds of muscle or my business was featured in the New York Times, then I could finally relax. Furthermore, goals create an either-or conflict. Either you achieve your goal and you are successful, or you fail and you are disappointed. And you are a disappointment. You mentally box yourself into a narrow version of happiness. This is misguided. It's unlikely that your actual path through life will match the exact journey you had in mind. It's unlikely that your actual path through life will match the exact journey you had in mind when you set out. It makes no sense to restrict your satisfaction. It makes no sense to restrict your satisfaction to one scenario when there are many paths to success. System first mentality provides the antidote. When you fall in love with the process rather than the product, you don't have to wait to give yourself permission to be happy. You have to be satisfied anytime your system is running. And the system can be successful in many different forms, not just the one you first envision it. not just the one you first envisioned. Yeah. Today's read was a good read, and I got to learn a lot of things. Earlier, I felt like it was more like the backdrop of the book. Now it's getting to the real meaty part. It's been 25 minutes since I've been recording. I'll summarize what I read today. So, today I read about compounding, how habits can compound, either in a good way or a bad way. And the outcomes of my actions are the lagging measures of my habit. That's the line I like very much in the beginning. You get what you repeat. Good habits make your time your ally. Bad habits make time your enemy. Habit is a double-edged sword. It can be bad habits can lead to worse, very bad results, but good habits can lead to very great results too. Both compound, bad habits and good habits, both of them. Then I read about what progress is really like. In this, he gave the example of the ice cube melting. It doesn't happen gradually, like it happens at a specific temperature. The melting of ice happens at a specific temperature, but it doesn't mean that when you start increasing from a lower temperature to that specific threshold point, that doesn't mean the temperature before that was insignificant. It just means that the melting started because of the accumulated temperature change or the temperature pressure. He also gave the example of the stones cutter hammering at a rock hundreds of times, but snaps at the last strike into two halves. And he told that this was a quote from a locker room of a great NBA team, and it was written that the stone didn't split because of the last strike, it split because of the strikes preceding it, all the strikes preceding it. Yeah. He also explained about the latent potential, the plateau of latent potential, that your growth will be stagnant for a very long time if you are following habits, minor habits, if you are changing small habits. But it will change. There will come a breakthrough point or a threshold. You will reach a threshold when you will break through, and people will call it overnight success. But only you know what efforts you have put in before that point. All big things come from small beginnings. Building a good habit is like cultivating a flower one day at a time, delicate flower one day at a time. He also told about goals and systems. He told us not to focus on goals, rather follow a system. Because he told, like, if you set a goal, but if you didn't reach that goal, you wouldn't call yourself successful. But if you build a system and follow it regularly, there's nothing to be to look forward to consider yourself to be successful, if that makes sense. And he gave, there are many problems with goals. So the first problem was, so he also told that you should, it's not like he's saying that you shouldn't be having any goals, because goals are the starting point. Once you set a goal and then you start to build a system around it. So goals are not a waste of time. It's a starting point of every great achievement. It can be. You can become great without even having a goal. Only if you just have a system to follow and you follow it every day. Then you'll eventually reach a goal and the system won't go to waste. That's what he was trying to say. And the problem with goals was, winner and loser have the same goals. Everyone thinks that setting up high goals can make you reach high places. Just because he had the same goal and he reached a great achievement. He didn't reach the great achievement because of the goal. He reached there because of the system he built around it and the system he followed. His goal might have been different, but once he built that system but didn't reach one goal that he set up for, he changed his goal to another direction. And that was possible because he had a system and he was following it for a long time. But if you have a goal, then you just try to reach it, but you couldn't grab it. Second problem he mentioned was, achieving a goal is a momentary change. By that he meant, setting up temporary goals won't get you anywhere. Instead, you have to setting up temporary goals for a problem. One set of goals, he wants to tell that a person set a goal if he has a problem, but if he doesn't find the root cause of the problem and treat that with a system, what's the use of just treating the problem with a goal? Like he explained it using the messy room example. Like if your room is messy, you don't set a goal to clear your room today. You might achieve it in one day, but you'll return to the same place if you didn't build a system to keep your room clean. And that's what he meant by building a system. A system lasts forever. Goals don't. Once you reach a goal, it's over. That goal won't persist forever if you don't have a system around it to support it. After reaching a goal, you have to stay there, right? So you have to build a system to stay there, to that goal. You have to build a system to stay on that goal. And never forget the system, even if you forget the goal. You can change the goal, but you cannot change the system. System is a basic foundation block. It's like your legs of reaching or achieving a goal or becoming successful. The third problem he mentioned was, goal restrict your happiness. By that he meant, if you set up a goal, you'd only be happy if you reach that goal, but not by following the path to the goal. You'll only think about the goal, not the path leading towards it. But in a system, if you have built a system and you follow it regularly, you'll be happy because you are following your system every day. And that's the difference. Successful system is not hard. Building a successful system is not hard. But achieving a high goal without a system is very hard. Achieving a goal without having a high goal is very easy with a good system. If a person is having a good foundation, he can build a tall building. But if his foundation is weak, what he's thinking of building a tall building, he will not reach there. Yeah. So you have to fall in love with the process rather than just the goal. You will achieve the goal sooner or later. That's it for today. I hope you like the video. I hope you find this video helpful. Even if you don't, I did. It's helpful for me. That's why I'm doing it. And let me make this clear. Even if this channel is not helpful for you right now, it can be a great way to understand that you have to start somewhere. I did. I'm doing it right now. You should do it too if you want to, that is. It's not like I'm telling you to make YouTube videos just like me. I need this, I wanted to do this, that's why I'm doing it. You might have a different purpose you want to achieve, so build your system around it. Okay, thank you.